Have you ever felt like an outsider in your own family? Have you ever experienced the heartbreak of being abandoned by the very people who were supposed to love and protect you? I have. My name is Sarah, and when I was 14, I was thrown out of my own home, not because of anything I had done, but because of a lie. A carefully crafted, venomous lie told by my own twin brother. My parents believed every word of it without hesitation, without question, without even looking at me for an explanation. I remember that day vividly. I was on my knees pleading with my parents to listen to me, begging them not to believe the lies. But my father just looked at me with cold, unforgiving eyes. "A bully like you doesn't deserve to live under my roof," he said before slamming the door in my face. I stood there, surrounded by my hastily packed bags, my entire world crumbling around me. I had no idea where to go, no idea what to do, but I knew one thing for certain. Nobody inside that house saw me as their family anymore. Years later, after struggling, fighting, and carving out a successful life for myself, my past came knocking on my door. The very people who had abandoned me were suddenly back, this time with their hands outstretched asking for my help. But I had one condition. Growing up, I learned quickly that in my parents' eyes, my twin brother Ethan was destined for greatness. And me? I was just there. My parents believed Ethan was some kind of prodigy, gifted, intelligent, special. Me? I was athletic, social, and loved spending time with my friends, but that was never enough for them. No matter what I did, I was always the disappointment. The favoritism was painfully obvious. Every year, Ethan had grand birthday parties with dozens of guests, expensive cakes, and mountains of presents. My birthdays? A store-bought cake and a half-hearted happy birthday from my parents, if they even remembered. I wasn't even allowed to invite friends over. The only person in my family who ever treated me like I mattered was my grandmother. She would sneak me my favorite chocolates and slip a few dollars into my hand so I could buy myself something nice. She was the only light in a house that felt more like a prison. As Ethan and I got older, the favoritism turned into something much worse: emotional abuse. My parents constantly criticized everything I did, no matter how hard I tried. I wasn't allowed to play sports because they wanted me to focus on school like Ethan. They controlled my every move, treating me like a failure before I even had a chance to prove myself. But nothing prepared me for what Ethan did next. Ethan had always been jealous of me, not because of anything I had, he already had our parents' love, but because I was naturally outgoing. I made friends easily while he struggled to connect with others. And on our 14th birthday, that jealousy turned into something far more sinister. Nobody showed up to Ethan's party, not one person. Meanwhile, my friends took me out for ice cream and we had an amazing day together. I don't know why Ethan's friends abandoned him, but in his mind, it was my fault. That night, he started spreading lies about me at school. He told everyone I was a spoiled brat, a bully. He went even further. He started hurting himself, giving himself bruises and black eyes and telling everyone I was the one hitting him at home. At first, I didn't realize what was happening. But slowly, I noticed the way people looked at me. Friends who used to laugh with me in the hallways now avoided eye contact. Invitations to hang out became less frequent. Whispers followed me wherever I went. I tried to confront Ethan at school, but he just smiled at me and said, "You deserve to rot alone." The rumors reached my teachers, then the school principal. One day, I was called into the office. My parents and Ethan were already there, waiting. My brother had told them everything, and he stuck to his lies like glue. My mother wept, holding Ethan as if he were some kind of hero for speaking up. My father looked at me with pure disgust. I tried to defend myself. I begged them to believe me. But my brother sat there, calm and collected, painting me as some kind of monster. The principal decided I needed to be punished. I was suspended for 10 days to teach me a lesson. But that was nothing compared to what happened next. When we got home, my father didn't say a word. Instead, he started packing my things. I stood there, stunned. "What are you doing?" I asked. His response was simple, cold, final. "You're not my daughter anymore," I begged. I cried. I clung to his leg, desperate for him to listen to me, but he shoved me away. My mother didn't even look at me. My brother stood in the corner watching, his arms crossed, victorious. "If your grandmother wants you, she can take you," my father said, dumping my bags by the door. And just like that, I was gone. If it weren't for my grandmother, I don't know what would have happened to me. She took me in, defended me, and promised me that one day my life would be better. But back then, I couldn't see how. I was just a scared, broken child who had lost everything. But my grandmother was right. I worked hard. I refused to let my past define me. I put everything into my studies, went to college, and discovered my passion for writing. I started freelancing, building a name for myself in the content creation world. By the time I graduated, I didn't need my parents. I had clients, connections, and a successful career. I traveled the world, made a life for myself, and for the first time ever, I was free. Then one day, my phone rang. It was my mother. I hadn't heard her voice in years. She wasn't calling to apologize. She wasn't calling to make things right. She was calling to ask for money. My parents had fallen on hard times. Their house was falling apart, and they wanted me to pay for the renovations. I laughed. "You abandoned me. You never once checked on me. And now you want my help?" My father, in his usual entitled tone, said, "We're family. It's your duty to help us." I gave them an ultimatum. If they wanted my help, they had to publicly admit that Ethan had lied. They refused. Ethan even messaged me, mocking me. So I did something better. I sent an email to our entire family exposing everything. I included proof. Ethan's own words admitting he had lied all those years ago. The fallout was brutal. Relatives who had once believed my parents' lies turned on them. My father sent me hateful messages, but I ignored them. I had won. Now, I live my life on my own terms. My grandmother is the only family I need. And as for my parents, they made their choice years ago. I simply made mine. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.